SAD, or Seasonal Affective Disorder, is something we talk about a lot in the winter months, but we don't talk about what's happening right now. But I'd like to in this edition of Let's Talk About It. So seasonal affective disorder really becomes topic of conversation generally, at least in my circles, around mid-January into early February. It's when we are in the thick of winter, in a non-climate changed world. It's usually quite snowy. I haven't experienced that for a few years, and I'm probably going to kick myself for saying that. Maybe this one. But yeah, it's harder to get outside. It's harder to get a bit of sunshine in because days are still quite short. And then the cold usually deters us from going out as well. But as much as in the past I have definitely experienced SAD, I find this time of year is a lot harder, and I always find it quite interesting that no one seems to be talking about it in the same way. So what I mean by right now is that as the days are getting shorter, it's darker in the morning, it's beginning to get darker in the evening, and I have found over the last couple of years in particular that those last couple weeks of September, beginning of October, until about mid-November for me are a real challenge. But usually the month of October in particular is kind of when it's at its hardest. It's the most obvious time when there's darkness in the morning, and you can start really seeing how quickly it gets dark at night. But it's not even the nighttime aspect that is hard for me. It's that early morning energy boost that I usually get in the summer months when it's sunny and beautiful. Even on rainy days, it's just lighter at 5 a.m. I even noticed my dog isn't wanting to get up this year, this time of year. She makes me laugh because she's almost like, nope, too dark, stay in bed, you go do your thing. Whereas in the summer, she gets up with me and follows me around the house. And even when we go for a walk now, as soon as we get back, she goes back to bed because it's still dark generally on the days that I have to work. Yeah, so I always just find it really interesting that we don't really talk about the negative effects of time change season. And so with this weekend being the fallback time change, I just thought it might be interesting to just share a little bit about how I experience this, and maybe you relate. Essentially, this is when, as someone who was diagnosed with depression at a very early age, this is when I find my flare-ups of depression the heaviest. I notice my mood changes, my energy level changes, my concentration changes. But only like as I'm getting started. As an early morning person, usually my alarm goes off, I'm out of bed, or I'm well out of bed, or I'm out of bed well before the alarm goes off. But in this chunk of, let's say, 6 weeks, give or take on either end of that September to November timeframe, I find that extremely challenging, and my desire to do things that I usually would love to do decreases as a result. It's not that I'm not outside in the sunshine or getting in fresh air like is more challenging in the winter. It's really just that early morning sunlight that I'm missing, I think. So I don't really know if I have any specific coping strategies for dealing with it. More so, I try to just stick to my routine as much as possible, which I didn't really do last week, and I definitely felt the convergence of both the darker mornings and being off routine. And that made an incredible difference in how I felt, and not in a good way. But we are on day 3 of being back to my normal work routine, and it feels great for the most part. I'm still a bit sluggish getting out of bed in the morning, but with time change this weekend, we'll see how it works. Yeah, I think sticking to routine, and just being aware that you're feeling blah, or if you are depressed, like feeling those symptoms of depression. I'm not at a level that I think I need to seek special help or ask for help. I notice it more. Yeah, so in my case, I think that's really positive. Yeah, but if it does go beyond that, talk to somebody, whether it's a friend or a professional. There's no shame in saying, hey, I'm just not feeling it lately. Even if it's solely because it's darker in the morning, it's not silly. Our bodies are very much in tune with nature. So it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense that less sunlight would equal less energy and a more somber mood at times. So I think most importantly, I just would say to take care of yourself and be easy with yourself. Yeah, there's no perfect solution, I don't think, because I think even if we didn't do time change, we would still we would still have challenges just because of where we're positioned on the world. But yeah, I hope that maybe sparked some thought about why do we only talk about this in the wintry months and not right now in the thick of it for some of us.